everybody. This is Dr. Carmen Bryant, the host of Redefining Yourself, a program that is about overcoming narcissist abuse, to provide you with education, to provide you with awareness, and to answer questions concerning your situation. Originally, I said that I made the program for women that were in and thinking of leaving and having left and are recovering from narcissist abuse. And the reason why, I had someone ask me the reason why is because the women were the ones that were reaching out to me. And so it was more women. And if you look statistically, domestic violence, and especially narcissist abuse, but domestic violence is underreported when it comes to men. And so now that I am here, and I'm not saying that, other people have not come out on other coaches' YouTube channels and talked about it. But now, more men are coming forward and telling me their stories about narcissist abuse with females. And as you see, with many of the men that are talking about it, is the exact same thing that women go through. And it is wonderful that you guys are willing, the kings are willing to share their stories, or willing to tell us about their experience with narcissists, which is very similar to what we go through as women who have been through relationships with narcissists. And so I'm so honored. Thank you, kings, for coming and talking to us and giving us your experience so we can see what it's like, and that you guys are bold enough to be able to tell us that, yes, you too went through it. Now, true enough, the way that women handle it and the way that men handle it sometimes is a little different. And I've listened to other leaders talk about it, especially leaders within the church. Male leaders talked about it. And I think if you guys know Honorable Bishop T.D. Jakes spoke and said that, women tend to grieve very hard and very long. Men tend to grieve very hard and very short. And so a lot of us look at men like, how did you get over that so fast? Because men and women are not made the same way. So we don't think the same way. We don't act the same way. We don't, process the same way. And so, yes, because we are, by nature, we're nurturers, we tend to nurture pain much longer than men do. We tend to nurture our children sometimes longer than men do, and so a lot of times men will grieve very, very hard, but when they're finished grieving, they move on. For women, sometimes it's hard for us to move on because we're grieving, and it's such a long process. But if you allow that process with the help of people to help you through that process of grieving, once that grieving process is complete, you will be relieved. There is light at the end of the tunnel. It's just like being in labor with a child. You can't rush the process. Your body, your baby, and your process. Some people go in and have a baby right away. Well, that is not my testimony. I did not have a baby right away when I walked in. There's no babies that just came out, so I was in labor for a long time, like many of you guys. Long time, some of you guys for days, they were in labor. Had to get your labor induced and everything. And so for each person, it's a different process. And so I'm here to help you. I'm here to talk about it. And so if you have not already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It is Dr. Carmen Bryant, DrCarmenBryant @outlook.com. Oh, that's my email address. Sorry. But it's the same thing, except it's overcoming narcissist abuse. So it's Dr. Carmen Bryant with a T, overcoming narcissist abuse. But if you want to email me, you guys want to tell me your stories, you can. A lot of you do email me and ask me a lot of questions. Now, if you're asking me questions to make videos, I can make videos off of your questions. But a lot of times you're wanting me to give you advice and wanting me to provide you with counsel or with coaching. Do understand that I'm a licensed mental health counselor in the state of Washington. I cannot provide counseling, but I can provide coaching. And so when you email me, a lot of times you're wanting me to engage with you, to provide you with advice, and I can't do that because I am a for-profit. My services are for-profit, and so I do have clientele. I do have people that pay to be coached by me. And so I think it's only fair if they're going to pay the price that I provide them with that encouragement, with the coaching, with that process that we go through. And that's only fair when you're dealing with for-profit businesses, and so I do reach out. I do respond back to emails though, however, and I do read your responses. A lot of times there's a lot of them, so sometimes I can't respond to everyone, but I do whenever I get an opportunity. When I'm traveling, when I get an opportunity, I do go read over your comments, and that's how I get some of the videos. And so today I just wanted to talk about, someone asked me to do a video, and Mr. Vidro, I know you asked me to do a video on public figures, and I'm excited about that one, and I will do one. So I did get that message. So today I wanted to go over the aging narcissist. Narcissists do not age very well. So let's look at male, female, for example. first of all, you have to understand that the narcissist is almost like stuck in a time warp. And so, they have been somewhere within their developmental years, they have been traumatized. And so anywhere between, young, from infancy, anywhere from childhood, from adolescence, they are stuck somewhere. And so if you look at the behavior, the way emotionally, chronologically they may be a certain age, but the way that they respond emotionally is that of a child. It's like a child having a temper tantrum, like a 4-year-old throwing themselves on the floor and having a temper tantrum because they can't have what they want. And so most of you that have been in relationships with narcissists, male or female, you'll notice when they don't get what they want, they have these temper tantrums. And you can almost point out to the age that they are, anywhere between 6, 13, 14, 16, but they are almost like adolescents or children, like, preteens. And so you have to remember that as a narcissist ages, unlike us, who, some of us age gracefully. You get gray hair. Now, me and Miss Clairol, is it Miss Clairol? Really, Miss Revlon, or Cream of Nature. Me and them, we're friends. We're friends. And so I try to gauge gracefully because my gray hairs just didn't look good. But one day I may do my gray hair. But think about it for a minute. Some of us age gracefully. You get the crow's feet, you get the wrinkles in your face, and we age, we mature. There's a lot to be learned from our elders. We have Miss Shirley, my favorite diva on there, who's a lot of the ladies on here who are mature, even the gentlemen mature, that have been through something. They can give you advice. They've matured. They've learned lessons. They can talk to the young people about relationships, and so they have learned, they have matured, they mature gracefully. You see some of the people on television, and they mature gracefully. They embrace their age. They understand that they're not young teenagers anymore. They don't have the bodies of the young 20-year-olds. They don't have, even fashion. Some of the fashion that the young people wear is not something that we're going to wear. We're, is our age, we're not going to walk around with just 2 paisleys on our breasts because our breasts don't sit up on our chest anymore. Some of our breasts are sitting in our lap. And that's just something that we have to. So Lane Bryant and Victoria's Secrets with the support bras work for us. We know we got to strap it up, maybe a little nip and tuck here, or, strap it up. Ladies, Spanx are your friends. One size don't fit all, but go buy some Spanx, to hold everything together. But as you age, and men, sometimes, hey, when you get that little tummy, you can't wear tight shirts anymore, tight pants. If you guys remember that movie, I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. Remember when I think it was Huggy Bear came out of prison and he was still dressed in his 70s or 60s clothes, with the 70s clothes, I think it was, with the stack shoes with the fish in it, with the big fedora or the big hat with the feather in it and everything, and they were just laughing at him, and he started running and broke his shoe. Well, you have to remember that a narcissist is like time warp, and the reason why they don't look like they're stuck in that young age is because of the fact that the people that they connect with, they transform to their world. So they may connect with a male or female that's in the business arena, and so the dress and that environment consists of suits and luxury cars and a certain language, a certain lingo, a certain behavior, that is acceptable and not acceptable. And so they go into, they get that new supply, and then they adapt that role, they adapt that image, they go into debt trying to adapt that image, even with the automobiles and the homes and whatever they do, to present themselves as a part of that group, even to a point where they may make mistakes around those people, and those people will correct them. And so they will learn to change their lingo. We don't do that. That's not how we act. These are the restaurants that we eat at, or, certain things they say, people kind of look at them and then they adapt. Now, say as they age, as you get into the more mature crowd, some of those behaviors that they have, is not acceptable anymore. It's not easy for them to blend in anymore, even with their looks. They may have like that little girl's look or that little boy's look, or that cute, charm or charisma. And as they get old, they start to age, and they don't embrace aging very well. Then you'll see a lot of the males and females go to plastic surgeons, and a lot of times you may see over surgery where they start looking plastic. They've messed messed up their good looks from one time, they become more angry and spiteful. They lash out more and they blame the people around them for a rough life. But life begins to show up in their face. Their mask is sliding off of their face, where it's not that easy to blend in with society or blend in with their supply. And sometimes you'll notice that the narcissist will begin to look for younger people that are more naive, that are more flattered by what they see. And especially if you're dealing with like a somatic narcissist that has always relied on their looks, on their good looks, their charms. And, a lot of narcissists are, pretty good looking people. Now, like I said before, I've seen some ugly ones that had to depend on their cerebral, the cerebral narcissist, and even that didn't work too well, and sometimes it gets to a point where at one point in time, remember, they were charming, the words they say, people were just overwhelmed with their beauty because that's what they wanted to do. And as they get older, they begin to age like death becomes her. They begin to peel. They begin to, they're not as charming as they used to be at one point in time. So it gets to a point where more mature people begin to it's almost like a punishment just to sit in a car with them or listen to them talk, because a lot of the focus of the conversation is them, or even their talk, what used to be charming and cute at one point in time is not cute at all. It doesn't impress. And as people mature and they're around these people and they learn, it becomes almost like, the more you talk, the more you give me a headache. What are you talking about? They're not as smart as they appear, because remember, they're blending in with their environment. You have some narcissists that get to a point where they start competing with their children. And so what used to be a cute little baby or an adolescent that admired their parent, as they get older, they begin to see their parents for what they are worth. And they try to get away from them. You are controlling, you are ridiculous. And you're angry, you're bitter, as cerebral as you want to be, you kind of dumb, but the kids begin to grow up and begin to see their parents for what they are worth. Toxic, and then the narcissist may look at, say, the female narcissist may look at their daughters as competitions. Remember, they're an extension of themselves, but now they're looking at the daughters as competitions in society. So you may see them start dressing like their daughters, pick up the hairstyles like their daughters, start putting their makeup on like their daughters, try to talk like their daughters, hang around, a young crowd, and, people are looking like, why is your mom hanging around with us? Or go to the clubs with their daughters, but they do the same thing that the daughter did, but it's almost it's really out of character. It doesn't fit their character, but they still try to blend in with that character. Or you may see like the older male narcissist, they begin to, who was it? Was it K-Love? I'm not sure it was K-Love. I think it was K-Love. K-Love, let me know if that was you. Where she said the narcissist that she was with had crocodile leather skin, and his hairline kept on receding and wouldn't stop. The hairline was back here somewhere, so the hairline started receding and wouldn't stop receding, and he just became ugly and ornery and hateful. And so now you have these, like, say you had a man that used to have that pretty curly hair, or whatever kind of hair you like, that pretty blonde hair, or that pretty curly Indian hair. Everybody's an Indian, got that Indian in them. And so they got that pretty Indian hair, and all of a sudden it starts thinning. They try to spray it in, or you see like on some of those Facebook posts, where everything is sprayed in and just is horrible. They age horribly. You see them trying to dress like the younger people. You have those in their 50s and their 60s, and they're wearing clothes like the young people that they see on television, and the suits are too tight. Now the younger generation who are still kind of thin, they're wearing those like back in, I think it was back in the 60s, like during the Temptation time, those straight leg pants they're small, the jackets that are kind of small because they're thin. Now you see these older narcissistic men that are too big to fit in that, their stomach hanging over the top, and they still think they're cute. They got gold in their mouth, and they still, what's up, girl? And you're looking at them like, you're old enough to be my grandfather. You got that they're still in the clubs where the young people is at, because there are some young girls that are impressed by, they're still trying to impress them with the things that they have, or the thing like they used to do back in the day, but eventually they just become like a sore thumb, like a person, that's Mr. So-and-so, he's still in the club looking for young girls, and you'll catch, that it'll also roll into pedophilia, where they start looking for younger and younger people that are not at their level of mentality, that is easy to manipulate or easy to harass or sexually molest, and so you have to watch that, because they do not age gracefully. They grow ornery, they're angry, they compete with their children. You gotta older man now that's looking at their sons, and their sons look just like what they looked like when they were younger. And so in their mind, they're vicariously living through the son. But you'll notice the male and the female with their sons and daughters, they always have something negative to say. They always have something, they don't say anything positive. They always, well, when I was young, or this is how I used to do it, and you think you got it going on, or you may think, and these are beautiful kids. They produce some beautiful children, and they attack them because it's their competition. Like I said, plastic surgery just gone all wrong. I mean, I'm not, for each his own. Some people believe in aging and aging gracefully and embracing the wrinkles and everything. I don't think anything wrong with a little nip and tuck and a little shot here and there, but not to a point where you look totally different than what you were, or you're trying to maintain the youth of your children. Some things you have to admit that, we are aging. It is a process that is inevitable. You can't stop it. The Egyptians tried to live an eternal life and stay young forever, and you see that didn't work too well. Even the corpses, look old, and dry and dusty, but narcissists cannot age well. They do not age well. Then you have those, like, for example, that are somatic, that are dependent on their good looks, their charms, their sexual, and I said it in another video where you have the situation where men go through changes in their bodies. They grow older. They're not as strong as they used to be. Their testosterone levels drop. So even their sex drive decreases. And if they were dependent on the sex, and they knew that they were, they knew how to do whatever they did, and all of a sudden the testosterone drops and they're not able to maintain an erection for a long time. They can't, and it doesn't work for them anymore. Now they're embarrassed, but they always blame the other person. I had a wife tell me that, the aging narcissist the testosterone levels drop, and on top of that, he has so many sources of supply that he had to take Viagra, but even that was causing side effects and causing health issues. He was having tics and chest pains, and she said it was a total disaster. Even when he was with New Supply, it was a total disaster. He actually talked about it. And so they don't age very well. They can't keep up with the new generation. The younger generation may have a higher sex drive, have more energy, and they don't have energy like that anymore, and they fight it, Then you have the women that are competing with the younger women. They're in the club with the young people, or they're dressing like the young people, or, and so they don't age very well. They do not age very well. They don't. And that's especially like with the somatic, who are dependent on their looks, who are dependent on their material possessions. They get to a point where their mask is dropping and people see them for what they really are. You can't use manipulation. You can't use your looks anymore. The charm doesn't work because you're not cute. You used to have the big, beautiful baby blue eyes, or the big pretty chocolate eyes or green eyes, and you can bat them and people just and now you look like, remember on the movie Shrek, remember when Donkey and Puss in Boots switched, and Puss in Boots didn't realize, that he didn't have that pretty charm. Remember, he used to make his eyes really big, and people used to just be mesmerized with his big, pretty green eyes, and people like, oh, he's so cute. And remember, he forgot that he was in Donkey's body, and he did the same thing in Donkey's body, like, ew, shoot him. Remember that? Well, that's a narcissist. They don't realize that they don't look like Puss in Boots anymore. Now they look like Donkey. Now, that's funny. I'll make my own self laugh. But they look like Donkey now. So they're doing the big eyes, and people are like, ew, get away from me. And so people around them, they're flying monkey, that little close circle that they had at one time that was easy to manipulate, and they're starting to see the real narcissist. And so, that group grows thinner and thinner and thinner, because they're like, you're getting on my nerves, or, what you talking about is I don't know what you're talking about, or no, you're not that cute, or no, you're not, something's wrong with you. But their true self starts coming out. So it's almost like that beauty starts to fade away, and the true self, you see the true narcissist. So those of you that were like, but they always seem like they're getting away. You asked me about karma. What comes around goes around. But you see, you can age gracefully. A narcissist doesn't. So as they age, it just gets worse for them. They become more angry. They rage more. They project more. Everything that's happening to them is all their fault. As you age, if you read psychologically, or if you read, even in the medical books, memory begins to fade, and those that have dementia is even worse, because they get angry and they try to hide the fact that they cannot remember. They try to hide the fact, but they still blame it on everyone. That's like being sick and they blame it on you, or you're the reason why I have cancer, or you're the reason why my health is failing because all the things I've done for you, and you're looking like, but you were an alcoholic, but your liver is tore up because of you, or you were a drug addict, and you are now feeling the effects, of age and alcoholism or drug abuse or whatever. And so, but it's never their fault. It's never, ever, ever, ever their fault. And so as a narcissist gets older, it just gets worse. So hopefully I answered that question. If I missed anything, please let me know. I'll go back. Mr. Vidro, I will go talk about the public figures and those that are in the limelight. That's a good one. I like that one. And so if there's anything you guys want me to do a video on, just send me the request. A lot of the videos are actually questions that you guys asked me that I did a video on, or even requested a video on those particular topics. So hopefully this has helped you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your support. To all the new subscribers, I'm so honored. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for listening to me and finding something valuable that I have to say. Those of you that came on live, thank you so much for interacting with me. Thank you for talking to me. And thank you, TMG. I do have a monitor for those of you that wonder what happened to some of the comments from the last time that we were on. We have people come on and they're just very, when you're in a process of healing, it's not the time to, just like in surgery, when you get into surgery, you don't want to be in surgery and it's not sterile in the surgery. And so when I come on live, I try to make it an environment that's conducive to your healing. They try, and so TMG has volunteered and she's my monitor. And so she goes in to get rid of a lot of those remarks so that you guys can stay focused on what we're talking about, so that you don't have to worry about these toxic people coming in and making these nasty remarks just because they can. And so some of you guys were asking question, what happened to the remarks? She goes in and she monitors on my behalf so that I don't have to do it and I can stay focused on you guys. And so thank you guys so much, and thank you, TMG, for the work that you do on my behalf when we're on live. You keep the comments coming, keep the emails coming, and do know that my coaching services are available if you are interested. A lot of you have reached out, so I'm working with some of you, and I'm so honored. I'm looking forward to see what happens and how you guys heal. I also have a Facebook page, which is Psychological Health Consultants and Services. Is long, so you can thumbs up on there, and YouTube channel Dr. Carmen Bryant, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the bell so you know whenever I upload new videos, and when I come live. And I come live on Sundays between 8 and 9 Pacific Standard Time. I try to stay on an hour, but you guys ask good questions, and so it end up prolonging it. So I don't want the video to be so long. But those of you that are faithful, that come in and watch those videos, thank you so much, and thank you for interacting with me. You guys go and you have a wonderful weekend. Do something nice for yourself. Love yourself. Find something to do to distract you. And I'm here for you. I'm making the videos. I'm supporting you, and I'm watching you guys prosper. Even though you may not see me, I see your comments, and I thank you guys so much. You guys go, like my friend always says, and be great. And I mean that.